Hi everybody. So, this morning's review post did not upload to Instagram properly. I tried several times to post it and it would not post. So here is trial number 2. I think the reason why the video was too long was because I spent a lot of time discussing episodes I talked about already. So maybe it's best to go over the list of favorite episodes and then just talk about focusing on the season 3 episodes, since I have already reviewed season 1 and season 2 previously in other posts. So my top 10 favorite episodes from seasons 1 to 3 of Friends are as follows: the one with the birth, the one with 5 steaks in an eggplant, which is also the most relatable episode, the one with the lesbian wedding, the one with the prom video, the one where no one's ready, the one with the football, the one with the race car bed, the one where Monica and Richard are just friends, the one with the hypnosis tape, the one with the chicken and duck. And the honorable mentions are the one with the ultimate fighting champion and the one at the beach. So I'm just going to talk about episodes 5 to 10 in this list, because those are the season 3 episodes. The first 4 in my top 10 favorite season 1 to 3 episodes are from seasons 1 and 2. So the number 5th ranked favorite episode of season 1 to 3 of Friends is the one where no one's ready. And what is most relatable about this episode to me is that I have been in situations many times with my friends from New Hampshire when we're getting ready for activities and it takes us a while to get out of the house, and that is what the 6 characters go through in this scene with getting ready for Ross's event at the museum. And my favorite part of this episode is when Joey comes in wearing all of Chandler's clothes, and he says, "I'm Chandler, could I be wearing any more clothes?" And I'm thinking of doing that as a Halloween costume this year. So I was wondering if anybody has any ideas for where I can get stuff for my outfit for Joey wearing all of Chandler's clothes. So please leave a comment below if you have ideas. The next favorite episode from season 3 is the one with the football. And what makes this episode my favorite is when they go out into the park to play football, and it just made the episode so enjoyable to see them get out of the apartment and having fun playing a game outside. And it just looked like they had so much fun filming that, because I watched the commentary after the episode and it just looked like that scene was so much fun to film. The next favorite episode is the one where Monica and Richard are just friends. And Miss Mojo came out with a new video about the way that Friends tackled serious issues. And Monica and Richard's relationship comes up twice in this list. First, with the one with the lesbian wedding, when they have their breakup because they realize that they want different things out of the relationship, and then being friends with your ex. Because in this episode that I like, the one where Monica and Richard are just friends, it focuses on Richard and Monica rebuilding their relationship after their breakup. And I mean, see, I really liked Monica and Richard as a couple. I know some people might think their pairing is weird because of the age difference, but I mean, and it kind of is, because the reason why they break up in the first place is because Monica wants to have kids, and Richard is at a position in his life where he already has kids, and he has grandkids, because he's friends with Monica's dad. So, sorry, that makes things a little bit awkward, but I mean, I just thought they had really good chemistry in the scenes that they were in together. So that's why when I've heard about the fan theory and the speculation surrounding it, the fan theory that I heard about is that Monica was born out of an affair and she's not Jack Geller's daughter. And a speculation from other fans that I have seen in the comments of the YouTube video that is on Miss Mojo about Friends fan theories is that Richard is Monica's birth father. And when I watched this video on YouTube in preparation for one of my original videos when I first started talking about Friends, when I was talking about fan theories, and I don't stand behind this theory. And there's another video on another YouTube channel that talks about fan theories for Friends that are actually proven to be true. And luckily, the one about Monica not being Jack Geller's daughter does not show up in this list. So that makes me relieved. Because I wrote a fan fiction based on the fan theory that Monica is not Jack Geller's daughter. And after I wrote it, I felt guilty because I thought that Courtney Cox would find out about it and that she would be offended by it. But maybe now that I know that the fan theory is not true, I can feel a little bit better about feeling anxious about her being offended by that. So if she watches this video, please let me know if you ever read that and if you were offended by it or not, because that would make me feel better, actually. The one with the hypnosis tape, this is the one where Chandler is trying to quit smoking, and he gets a hypnosis tape from Rachel to try to help him with quitting smoking, and he doesn't realize that it's a hypnosis tape that's meant for women. So basically, he starts incorporating like feminine qualities into his personality because of listening to hypnosis tape. And the funny thing about this is the voice on the hypnosis tape is actually one of the directors of the show, Marta Kaufman. That's the voice on the hypnosis tape, which I think is actually cool that the director of the show was able to incorporate herself into the episode that way. And my next 3 favorite episodes of Friends, so I really have a top 12 instead of a top 10. My next favorite episode is the one with the chick and the duck, where Joey and Chandler adopt the chick and the duck from the pet store. And one thing that always confused me, not just about the chick and the duck, but also about how Ross was able to keep Marcel in the apartment building. Like, usually apartment buildings have rules about keeping certain animals as pets, and I am surprised that the apartment building in Friends did not have those kinds of rules specified, because I feel like if they did, my theory would be that Ross would have not been allowed to keep Marcel in the apartment, and Joey and Chandler would have not been able to keep the chick and the duck either, because really, those are not the type of animals you should have as pets anyway, because they are not meant for the environment conducive to living in an apartment building. Like, For example, in the episode in season 1 where Rachel is babysitting Marcel actually like escapes and gets out. And like the thing that I didn't like about that episode was that like I think it must have been really stressful for them to find out where the monkey was when it went away. And I heard in the behind the scenes commentary that it was really hard for them to film the scenes with the monkey because the monkey was not a very cooperative animal when they were filming. And the cast members of Friends did not like working with the monkey, and I don't blame them because I know if I was in their shoes, I probably wouldn't like working with the monkey either. The next episode that I really liked in season 3 was the one with the Ultimate Fighting Champion, and my favorite part of this episode is the scene in the beginning where Billy Crystal and Robin Williams do their improvisational scene where they come into the coffee shop and they're talking about, and Billy Crystal's character tells Robin Williams' character that he's been sleeping with his wife, who's the gynecologist or whatever. And this is one of the best improvised scene in Friends. It's actually in another Miss Mojo video that I watched for research for this video about top 10 unscripted scenes that were kept in the show. And this scene was ranked number 5 in that video, but I think it should have been ranked number 1. And the scene that should have been ranked number 2 was the scene that was ranked at number 8, which is from later season when Rachel is babysitting Ross's son Ben, and she teaches him about practical jokes. And Ross and Ben play a prank on Rachel where like they throw a dummy of Ross down the stairs, and the video that I watched as research for this video said that Jennifer Aniston's reaction to that was actually not scripted and was actually like really, they wanted to keep it authentic, so they didn't tell Jennifer Aniston that they were using a dummy of David Schwimmer. So actually Jennifer Aniston thought that it was really David Schwimmer who fell down the stairs when it was really a dummy of him that fell down the stairs. So those are my top favorites episodes from seasons 1 to 3 of Friends, mostly focusing on season 3. For my top 10 least favorite episodes of season 3, 1 to 3, my least favorite episodes of seasons 1 to 3 of Friends are the one with the boobies, the one with the stone guy, the one with the 2 parts, part 2, which is the episode in season 1 where Joey is dating Phoebe's twin sister Ursula, and Ursula stands him up, and Phoebe has to like pretend to be her sister to break up with Joey. And like Joey and Phoebe actually kiss in this episode because Phoebe thinks that it's Ursula when it's really Phoebe. And so there's this fan theory about Friends that's actually true, that Joey and Phoebe were secretly hooking up the whole time. And what's cool about this is that Lisa Kudrow and Matt LeBlanc actually went to the directors of Friends with the idea to reshoot certain episodes in certain scenes in certain episodes to like make the audience kind of suspect that Phoebe and Joey were secretly hooking up. but the directors said no to that. And I wish they had said yes, because, I mean, Phoebe and Joey share a kiss more than once throughout the whole entire show, so they could have easily been a couple. But, I mean, I was happy that she ended up with Mike, because Paul Rudd is also very cute. And then the one with the list, this episode is my least favorite because it really starts the trajectory of what a jerk Ross can be to Rachel, and it makes me really dislike him, and I continue to dislike him throughout the entire rest of the series because of how he treats Rachel so bad. And, like, as we know, in this episode, Ross has feelings for Julie, and he has feelings for Rachel. So Chandler and Joey help him to make a list of pros and cons for Rachel and Julie. And I really hated Ross in this episode because he said really mean things about Rachel in the list, and, like, then Rachel found the list and she got really hurt feelings, and I really, really felt bad for Rachel. Okay, the one with Russ. So the serious issue that is talked about in the one with Russ is Fun Bobby's substance use disorder. And I know I've talked about this before, but I wanted to talk about it again because I shared a fan fiction on Thursday that is a modern subversion of this plot that focuses on the kids of the friends. And I actually would like people to go back and watch that video and comment on my fan fiction, because I was really reluctant to share that at all, because after reading Matthew Perry's book about what he has gone through with substance use disorder, I was really worried to write something about that, because I wanted to make sure that I was doing this topic respectful justice so he doesn't get offended by it. But in the fan fiction that I wrote, it's a modern subversion of the plot that's set in modern day, and it focuses on Emma and Jack and Erica, and one of their classmates gets arrested, and they find out he has substance use disorder, and Chandler and Monica find out that their son is also doing drugs. So, I just hope in my story I do a good job of handling that, because one thing I did not like about the Fun Bobby plotline in Friends is that they didn't really treat the topic of substance use disorder very tactfully or respectfully, and I felt that if I had been a writer on Friends, I probably would have, like, figured out a way to handle that better, especially given what Matthew Perry was going through during the film. I mean, this episode was in season 2, before Matthew Perry's substance use disorder started, but still, like, I feel like if Friends was made today, or there was a spin-off series made, that topic would be handled a whole lot better than it was, because I just thought they kind of made a joke out of Bobby's drinking problem when it should have been handled better than that. The next episode is the next 2 episodes that I didn't like in season 2 were the one where Eddie moves in and the one where Eddie moves out. This is the one where Joey moves out and Chandler gets a new roommate. His name is Eddie. he's played by this actor named Adam Goldberg, who I got confused about by his name because I thought he was Adam Goldberg from the show The Goldbergs, but it's a different Adam Goldberg, apparently. But I didn't like this character that was Eddie because I thought he was a creep. And one thing that stood out to me that was really creepy was the scene where he was like watching Chandler sleep. I mean, SpongeBob SquarePants does a similar thing where SpongeBob and Patrick are watching Squidward sleep at 3:30 in the morning in an episode. I forgot what season I was in, and I don't think I've watched that episode yet. But yeah, I just thought Eddie was a really sketchy, creepy character. The other episode I didn't like was the one with the chicken pox. Like, this plot line I just didn't like. I just don't think that there are certain plot lines in this show that could have been easily done without. This one is one of them. The other one I wasn't too crazy about is the one with the East German laundry detergent. I just feel like there's not a lot of funny things that you can do with that. And the same thing with the episode, the one with the bullies, where Chandler and Ross are dealing with the bullies at the coffee shop. Like, yeah, sure, I understand that people can deal with bullies all the time, even as adults, but like, I just didn't think that plot line was really conducive to a comedy show, and I was not laughing at all in that scene, in that episode. Most of these episodes on his top 10 list were from season 1 and season 2. The season 3 episodes that are on this list are the one with the metaphorical tunnel. And the thing I like the least about this episode is how Ross makes such a big deal about letting Ben play with a Barbie doll, and he tries to force heteronormative stereotypes on his son by trying to get him to play with more manly toys. And I just thought that whole idea was stupid, and it could have easily been left out of the plot, because it doesn't show Ross in a very good light. And also, like, another reason why I don't like that episode is because it kind of proves that, like, if his son was gay, he probably wouldn't accept him because of his sexuality, based on how he wouldn't let him play with the Barbie. Like, that's just my analysis of it. Maybe I'm analyzing it wrong. Feel free to correct me, but that's just how I analyzed that scene. And the two episodes I wanted to talk about next are the one with the morning after and the one without the ski trip. So the one with the morning after takes place after, it's the second part of the 2-part episode where Ross and Rachel have their fight, and Ross sleeps with the girl from the coffee shop, and Rachel finds out about it, and they end up breaking up. And, like, so this is where the whole "we were on a break" debate happens. It starts here, and it goes throughout the whole entire rest of the friggin' show. Now, what side of the "we were on a break" debate am I on? Ross did a lot of really, really mean things to Rachel leading up to this whole point with sleeping with Chloe. I feel like the break should have happened sooner, like after the one with the list. That's when Rachel should have friggin' taken a break from Ross, because Ross never even friggin' apologized to her for hurting her feelings after making the list. that was when I would have taken a break to analyze the situation if I still wanted to be with him. But no, that's not what ended up happening. Instead, Rachel dated Mark for a little bit, and Ross got all like possessive and clingy of her and basically tried to mark Rachel at as his territory. And that was another red flag that I noticed. Like, if a guy did that to me, I definitely wouldn't like it. And Rachel calls him out on it, and Ross makes a big deal about having hurt feelings. But I mean, the way he was acting is really not conducive of an apology, because it was possessive and it was creepy. And I mean, I love David Schwimmer. He's an awesome actor. I think him and Jennifer Aniston have great chemistry in all the scenes they're in together as Ross and Rachel. So this is nothing against them, and I hope they don't take offense to what I'm saying if they watch my video. But I just never, like, when I was younger, I watched this show and I never really noticed any of these things. But now, as an adult in my 30s, and having known people personally who have been through relationship issues and have been with guys who have not been the best fit for them, like I have had friends in the past who have been in situations like that. No names are being mentioned here, but they know who they are. But were Ross and Rachel on a break? No, I don't think they were. I mean, I understand that later in the series they have a kid together, but I always wondered, after Rachel got off the plane to Paris, how long their relationship actually friggin' lasted. Because I remember watching the episode very recently when she gives birth to Emma, and she's like crying in the hospital room about how she's going to end up raising Emma by herself, and she's talking to Joey about it. And that scene is so sweet, and I love Joey in that scene, and I think Joey and Rachel should have really ended up together instead of Rachel going back to Ross after she got off the plane to Paris, because I just thought Joey was really sweet to her. And I know that the actors on Friends and the directors didn't really like Rachel and Joey as a pairing. I know I'm alone in this opinion. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so in the one with the morning after, Rachel and Ross are having to fight about what happened with Chloe, and the other people in the friends group are locked in Monica's bedroom listening to their conversation. And when I was watching this episode a couple of days ago, I closed my eyes and pictured myself in the scene where everybody else is locked in Monica's bedroom listening. And, like, this is what I thought. Like, I pictured myself in that scene and I was like, I can't handle this. So, I would have busted down the friggin' door, kicked Ross's ass, and then gotten food from the refrigerator and brought it back to the bedroom for everybody else to eat. Because they didn't have any food in the bedroom. They were, like, locked in Monica's bedroom with no food, I think. And they obviously couldn't go out into the kitchen to get anything because they didn't want to be in the middle of Monica and Rachel and Ross's fight. And then in the one without the ski trip, the thing that made this episode so relatable for me is because, once again, going back to my friend group when I used to live in New Hampshire, we had many situations in the past couple of years where there was a lot of drama and tension between certain people in our group. Not going to mention names, but I mean, they know who they are because they were there and they were in the middle of the situation. And we, as the rest of the group, did not want to take sides in the argument because we didn't want to like, not be friends with the other person. And I hated being in that situation, and I'm sure other people did too. And that's what Phoebe and Joey and Chandler experience in this episode, because they don't want to get in the middle of Rachel and Ross's fight. So, yeah, I rated that episode 10 out of 10 for relatability. For letter grade, I gave it a C+, just because I just didn't find it funny at all. So as far as serious issues are concerned, so Miss Mojo made a new video about top 20 times that friends tackle serious issues. They talked about some of the same stuff in their first video again that they talked about before, but like I just mentioned Monica and Rich's relationship. So they talked about that 2 times in the list. I talked about being friends with your ex. I talked about breakups in the aftermath. Divorce. So I thought the really interesting part about the one with the lesbian wedding episode was the side plot with Rachel and her mom, because Rachel's mom tells her that she's going to divorce her dad. And I love the conversation that Rachel has with Chandler at the end of this episode in the hallway of the apartment, where they're talking about how they handle dealing with divorce. I just thought that was a really sweet conversation exchange between the two of them, and you really don't see them interact too much as friends throughout the series like that, and that's what I really liked about that particular scene. But, like, I would have liked to see how the divorce not only impacted Rachel, but impacted her sisters too. I'm assuming that this is talked about a little bit, because, I mean, Rachel's sisters go to her for advice about how to find jobs and stuff like that. So I think that's part of the dealing with the divorce, because when they divorce, the dad cuts them off from all the money. So that's something that I feel should have been talked about a little bit more, is how Rachel and her sisters dealt with the divorce and the aftermath of it, and like how that would have impacted raising Emma as well. Like, that wasn't talked about either. Like, how would Rachel's grandparent Emma, if they're divorced? Like, did the dad end up getting remarried? Did the mom end up getting remarried? That would have been something I would have wished the directors would have explored a little bit more. But they can only do so many plot lines in this series, and I understand that. But, I mean, in the episodes that Rachel's sisters were in, I just really liked them as characters, and they were my favorite characters, because, I mean, so Reese Witherspoon played Rachel's sister Jill, and she was in Friends before she was in my favorite movie, Legally Blonde. So, I liked her a little bit better than her other sister, Amy, who was played by Christina Applegate. I'm not saying that Christina Applegate did not play this character well. She did. She was great, but I just really thought she was rude. And I came across a Instagram post the other day that had a picture of Phoebe's sister Ursula and a picture of Rachel's sister Amy, and the caption on the picture said, what would a scene would have been like if these two had been in it? And that would have been something interesting if there had been a scene where Ursula and Amy had interacted, because that would have been interesting to see what they would have talked about their family dynamics, especially after the divorce of their parents. So another serious issue that is talked about in seasons 1 to 3 of Friends is Phoebe's sexual assault by Paulo. This happens in season 1, when Rachel's Italian boyfriend comes into Phoebe's massage parlor and assaults Phoebe. And the thing I hated about this episode was that the sexual assault of Phoebe was not handled very well at all. Because, let's be honest, Phoebe's character is used as more of comic relief on Friends, so when she has a serious plot line like the sexual assault, it's hard for people to take it seriously, because especially if there's a laugh track under the scene where either Phoebe is getting assaulted or she's trying to explain to Rachel what happened to her, the laugh track underscores that, and I just feel like sexual assault should not be made a joke of, because it's something that can really hurt somebody really badly. And I just think that if that episode were to be remade today, it definitely would not happen at all. Like, I feel like a character like Paulo would probably not even be created for the scene of that, because with the Me Too movement, I just don't think a scene like that would fly today. And like, so one thing that bugs me about this Miss Mojo video about serious issues and how they're handled on Friends is, like, in the original list and in the list that they just made with the top 20 list, one of the things that they list on here, which was number 10 on the original list and number 11 on the new list, was male affection. I guess I just don't see how this is a serious issue. And how Miss Mojo describes it is that men are seen as macho and they're not supposed to really show affection towards each other. And what's given as an example is like Joey and Chandler's friendship and how like they have a strong bond with each other and they hug a lot. And like, I just don't get how that's a serious issue or why people think that's such something that should be talked about in a serious way. Like, can somebody explain that to me? Maybe if you're a guy who watched Friends in the 90s and early 2000s and were turned off by how Joey and Chandler had such a strong bond with each other and there was a lot of hugging going on between them, like, that never bothered me. So I don't understand what the issue with that ever was. And I mean, if Matthew Perry or Matt LeBlanc watches this and they can maybe like explain to me why people are making such a big deal about that, because I just don't see it as a problem, and they probably didn't either. But if somebody could clarify that for me, I just found that as a confusing listing in both of these videos about how serious issues were handled on Friends. And most of the other serious issues that were talked about in this video are issues that I've talked about already from seasons 1 and 2, and also like issues that are handled in the later seasons that I will talk about at a later time. Like, for example, like Monica and Chandler's infertility issues come up in both of these videos, but that's not until season 9. So I won't talk about that until later. But I've mentioned it before in previous videos when I have talked about the past video that Miss Mojo posted about relatable issues in Friends, and like I have mentioned before that I cannot relate to that personally myself, and I don't know people who have dealt with that personally. But one thing I did want to say is that when I watched that scene when Friends was airing originally, I remember how emotional it made me, and I just wanted to let Matthew Perry and Courtney Cox know that I really got emotional during that episode and felt how they were feeling, even though I had never had an experience like that myself. So kudos to them for that. So I'm taking a little bit of a break from posting Friends content starting tomorrow. And Matt and I are not watching Friends again for another 2 to 3 weeks, and then we're going to start watching season 4. So thanks for tuning in, and I will be back later in the week where I will be reviewing Ticket to Paradise, the live-action Little Mermaid movie, and A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon, which is a movie from the late 1980s with a young Matthew Perry in it. So I will be back on either Friday night at 9:30 or Saturday morning or Saturday evening. Actually, I might be back on Saturday evening to review these movies and also talk about my art show that I have. So, yeah, I will be back on Saturday night at 7:30. So be sure to tune in. Thank you.